Good morning. Good morning. Another day, another dollar. Most people trying to make $1 out of 15 cents. Hey, just give me that 15. I know where to put it. They're trying to make $1 in one day. Give me that 15 right now so I can turn that 15 into $10 tomorrow. So, I'm on my way to property loss inspection. If you are an insured advocate, it might behoove you to get there earlier than the insurance adjusters said they will be arriving. One, so you can do a pre-inspect, so you can talk knowledgeably and intelligently while this adjuster is doing their thing. You will have some recon, some already set up questions, some already discreetly marked places that they should look. And I say discreetly because this is definitely a collaboration, a cooperation between you and the insurance company. And when I say you, I mean either the homeowner, because if you're watching this video, you're either a homeowner, you're either a public adjuster, you're either an attorney, you're either a restoration professional, or any other insured advocate, or an insurance carrier advocate. And when I say insurance company, I mean whatever agent they send out. Because the way agent law works, whoever the insurance company sends as their agent, anybody doing anything on their behalf, that person technically is the insurance company. So the reason why I say discreetly marked, because sometimes field adjusters have a problem when you pre-mark damages prior to them getting there. And even if they wanted to have a good day that day, and even though they never told you not to do that, if and when they see that, that might give them every reason that they need in order to be a little bit more biased than usual. And not that that should overall affect what you do, because if you only did things in order for someone else to not be offended or upset, you be in for a real bad life. You be in for a life of depression and mediocrity, because it's hard not to offend someone, because you don't know what they find offensive. Offensive is subjective. So, but that said, I'm letting you know in advance, some of them consider you pre-marking damages to be a flag on the play, and that'll start the game off wrong. So you might want to discreetly mark something with a chalk in order to help jog your memory, but to the point that it won't make them already be in a defensive mode. Now, some people come defensive off rip. You can't help that, but you want to try to avoid that. And once again, just because you're the nice adjuster, which that's usually the nice public adjuster, or the nice homeowner, or the nice attorney, or the nice insured advocate, or the nice restoration professional, you know, I usually go the nice approach. I've also seen people go the bulldog approach. Both approaches work. Both approaches are effective. I've seen both work. But for me, I'm just inherently a guy who prefers to be easy. And when I say be easy, I don't mean like a pushover. I just mean I want my life to be easy. I don't got time for these people. Yeah, I don't got time for it, man. My life is a happy life. And I like to keep that happiness with me. So what I do is I always approach things the nice approach. Now, the thing about that, and it's probably some insurance adjusters or insurance appraisers that have been my counterparts watching this that will tell you that, yeah, he's a nice guy, but as soon as I tried him, ooh, who is this guy? Are you Randolph? Yeah, no, respect gets respect, and if that changes, then unfortunately I have to show you that just because I'm nice doesn't mean that I don't know what I'm doing. So I'm gonna be arriving at the property to do my pre-inspection, and then we're gonna go from there. One thing that I'm gonna find out from this adjuster, and I hope he doesn't give me any pushback, is if he has a problem with me recording his inspection. And the reason why I say I hope he doesn't give me any pushback, because the courts have already determined that the insurance carrier has no expectation of privacy. The insurance carrier are either one of their agents, because once again, like I told you, anybody that's representing the insurance carrier is an agent in the insurance carrier, and anybody who is an agent of the insurance carrier is technically the insurance carrier. And whatever they say is the same as if the insurance company is saying out of their mouth. Whoever, it's the same as if the president of the insurance company is saying it, whoever the agent is. So I hope they don't have no problem, because the courts have already determined they don't have any expectation of privacy whenever inspecting the private property of one of their policy holders. And the reason why I hope he doesn't have any problem with it is because, once again, I try to avoid ruffling feathers unless absolutely necessary. Just because I'm inherently a nice guy, I'm not going to let my nice attitude adversely affect my clients. So we're going to go from there. So I'm going to update you when I get there. It's going to be a good inspection. I already know. You got to have that positive mindset. See you soon. Okay, we're here at the property. Now, there are going to be days where you're just not as sharp as you once were. Well, let me rephrase that. There are going to be days that you're not as sharp as you usually are. Things might go on, you might get distracted, and you want to make sure that you still capture everything that needs to be captured in order to document your claim appropriately. So what do you do to protect yourself against those days when you just don't got it? You have to rely on habit. You have to rely on muscle memory. So I recommend that you do everything the same every time. So when you do encounter those rough days, you can just go into autopilot. So I always start at the front elevation first. And I always make sure to capture the address. Now, one thing that a lot of adjusters miss is the mailbox. Now, look at this. Look at this dent in this mailbox. What caused this dent? Do you know? I don't know. Was it here prior to the event, the covered event? Maybe, maybe not. A lot of homeowners aren't that aware of what damages existed prior to or after a covered event. So it's definitely recommended that a homeowner does a regular inspection at least once a year of their property, walking around with the camera, just recording and documenting the way things look. So if a covered event does happen, you're covered. But that being said, most homeowners policies are what's considered to be open perils policy. What does that mean as it relates to what's covered and what's not? So I'm going to tell you what it is, and then I'm going to tell you what I recommend. Now, what an open perils policy means is essentially everything is covered as it relates to damage to your property unless it's explicitly excluded. Why is that distinction important? Because if it can't be proven that something is explicitly excluded, it's covered. That means that if the insurance company cannot prove that something that caused damage to your covered property is explicitly excluded, they got to pay. And what does that mean? That means that the burden of proof is on the insurance company. And they have other policies where it's considered a named perils policy, which means everything is not insured unless what we say is explicitly listed, named as insured or covered in that policy. So that means in that instance, the burden of proof is on the insured to prove that it is one of those named coverages. Okay, so I just told you what it is. Now, let me tell you what I recommend. Even though most homeowners policies are open perils policies, which means the burden of proof is on the insurance company, which means if they can't prove that it's explicitly excluded, they have to cover it. Still, you got to act as if this is a named perils policy, in my opinion. You definitely want to do everything you can to show that this is explicitly covered and get all your documentation. So that means get weather reports, get professionals, whatever you need to show that this is a covered thing. So the reason why I brought that up is, look at this dent. What caused this? Possibly a wind-driven missile. Why did I say possibly? Because you don't know. The homeowner doesn't know because they wasn't paying attention to it typically. I don't know. I'm not a causation expert. I'm not going to explicitly say what caused something. I can say what possibly caused something. I can say what probably caused something. And that's exactly what I'm going to do in my report. Injury to mailbox possibly caused by a wind-driven missile. And if they say it's not uncovered, I'm going to say, well, how do you know? And if they say, well, a wind-driven missile didn't cause that, I'm going to ask, how do you know? Exactly. So I always start from the front and then I work my way counterclockwise. One thing that you want to check for is the screens. And what an insurance policy typically covers, oh, watch out, buddy. What an insurance policy typically covers is injury to, destruction of, or loss of tangible use of a property. Injury is another word for cosmetic damage. Destruction of, it's destroyed, or loss of tangible use. Now, this could go under injury to or loss of tangible use. If you see damage to a screen, the tangible use of that screen is to keep bugs out. If there's a hole big enough to let what bugs in that it typically don't, that's loss of tangible use. If it's cosmetically damaged, meaning that you can look at it and see that it wasn't made like that, that's injury too. So you definitely want to get up on here. Well, I don't see anything to these screens. Boom. Let's see. And this is called a kick-out diverter. You want to make sure to document all kick-out diverters. Let's see. It's pretty. Okay. Now, the homeowner has already made me aware that this was already missing prior to the weather event. So even though the same thing could apply as with that mailbox, and once again the homeowner she just doesn't remember if that injury was there or not. She just doesn't, she just checks her mail and come back, but she knows for a fact that this was already missing. So you need to practice integrity at all times when you're doing what we do. You need to be beyond reproach, because there's already a negative connotation to some people with what we do. Okay, so now look at this garage. Anybody see any damage to this garage that might be covered? Let me know. Do 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 do. Exactly. Look at that. Homeowner doesn't recall if this was there or not. Look at that dent. It's so small, but guess what possibly could have caused that? You guessed it. Wind-driven missile. And if there's an injury too, so this doesn't fall under destruction, because as you see, the garage is still here, and it's still used. That's, and here's another one. And it's still usable, so there's no destruction, there's no loss of tangible use, but there is injury. And what some adjusters, insurance carrier adjusters might tell you, hey man, that's cosmetic damage. And then you say, well, what was that second word you just said? Exactly. And when you read the policy and it says injury too, what does that mean to you? Oh, okay. Just let me know. All right. So this roof is a gable roof. These are the eaves. This is the rake. And the way that you can remember that, a rake is, this side looks kind of like I guess a rake. If you had to compare what an actual rake, what a rake to be, like a literal rake that you use to rake a yard, which one looks more like a rake? This or that? I would go with this. And then also you can also imagine that this is the second half of the K at the end of rake. And just like I said, just try to find some ways to remember that. Other typical type of roof is a gable roof for residential property, and then you also have flat. Some roofs have flat roofs. And when I get up there, we're going to cover all of these satellite dishes, because typically one of the satellites is active, not all of them. And I guess what happens is when different people move, different people get different satellite companies, and they never replace it. But the insurance company, the way the policy works is it's supposed to put you back to where you were. And if they had 3 satellite dishes on their roof, even though it probably wouldn't make sense to put 3 satellite dishes back if all of them aren't in use, that's what the insurance company owed. They owe to put you back to where you were. So that would be in your estimate to detach and reset 3 satellites. And if only one of the satellites are active, that's when you add that calibration. And that damage to this garage door, that would be a overhead door panel that you would do. It looks like I have documented and observed damage to 2 of the overhead door panels. So as I'm going along the right elevation, each side of the home is considered to be an elevation. This is the right elevation, and like I said, I start from the front and I go counterclockwise every time. And once again, the reason why I do this every time is because I'm trying to build a habit for those days when I'm just not feeling it. That my subconscious and my muscle memory will go into autopilot. Okay, so let's look at this. I don't know why this isn't showing up really on camera. Let me see. I'm gonna put my finger here so I can. Okay. All right. So what caused this, people? Tell me what caused it. And whatever you say that caused it, let's say that somebody definitely knows what caused it. Not only do they definitely know what caused it, they documented what caused it. It's on camera. And that person says, all right, what do you think caused it? And then you say what you think caused it. And then they ask you, are you willing to bet $1 million? Would you bet that million? Of course not, because you don't know, I don't know, we don't know. The insurance company does not know. So what possibly, again, caused this, come on, say it with me, wind-driven missile. And what's the covered cause of loss? Wind. And if this is a wind claim, then that falls under it. So that's one screen. And what you have with those screens, usually I think it's it's anywhere from 1 to 9 square foot screen replacement. And then you have the WDW labor minimum if it's only one screen. So let's proceed to the backyard. And this is a well manicured yard with a lot of bushes. If you're dealing with an insured that takes care of their property, well manicured yard with bushes along the eaves and the rakes of the home, you definitely want to document that, because it's a wild thing when they start tearing off these shingles, and the nails go everywhere, the shingles go everywhere, falls into these bushes, falls all over the yard. You want to be able to document that this person is somebody that really takes care of their yard, and therefore certain measures need to be taken in order to keep that, such as maybe putting tarps around these bushes, maybe making sure that somebody is regularly doing something other than just the typical to keep this yard beautifully manicured as the homeowner prefers. So now we're looking at these windows. Look, you got a spider web right here. One of the things scariest things is dealing with these bushes, because you don't never know what's in these bushes. Well, let's see, y'all. Y'all some nice dogs, aren't you? So now we're looking at everything. You looking like, what is that in your hand? So y'all, once again, the $1 million question. Same scenario applies. What caused this damage? We know what is, if and let's say somebody, they told you again, we know exactly what caused it. We documented what caused it. Tell us what caused it. And then you might say, oh, obviously the dogs scratched this. Obviously, are you willing to bet $1 million? Are you willing to put your family's house and life savings on the line based off what you think happened? No? Then that means it could have been possibly caused by, you guessed it, wind-driven debris. We're not causation experts. We're not psychics. We can only say what possibly caused it. And if you're dealing with an open perils policy, unless you can prove that it's explicitly excluded, the burden of proof is on the insurance carrier. But like I said, you definitely don't want to rest on that. You want to be able to say it's good to be able to prove with verifiable evidence and third-party documentation and things of that nature what actually caused it, even though with the open perils policy, it isn't your burden of proof. But the insurance companies know that. The attorneys know that. The courts know that. But do you want to have to go to court to prove that the burden of proof is on them? Nah. You don't want to have to go to court. That's why you want to do everything you can to show that it was caused by a covered event. And once again, that means getting third-party documentation, getting weather reports to show that there was an event that was strong enough to cause this damage. Taking my time. And I'm going back to the left elevation to check it out. And if you got an inspection coming up, make sure your homeowner gets in the yard. Look, man, you want it to look good. You want to imagine that these pictures are going to be shown to a jury of their peers. And you want the jury to be like, they don't even take care of their property. What I look like awarding them for their claim. Now you want them to see that this is somebody who values their property. This is someone who pays for their insurance, and therefore they shouldn't get indemnified and not indemnified. So these screens look good. So we got one screen on the right elevation. We got two dents on the two different door panels, possibly caused by wind-driven missiles. We have a dent on the mailbox, possibly caused by wind-driven missiles. We have a tear in the patio screen, again, possibly caused by wind-driven missile. When I get back with you, we're going to be heading up on this roof. Okay. We're about to take it to the roof. So what I have is what's called a telescoping ladder. Just like a telescope, it starts compacted and scopes out higher. This ladder is good for adjusters who are 250 pounds or lower. Anything more than that, you're tempting fate. It's convenient and can't hold the weight. That rhyme. So, but yeah, I use this telescoping ladder. It's very convenient, but you definitely want to make sure that you do your research, that you have a quality ladder, because the only thing that's keeping you up are the pins right here. And if you're dealing with a ladder that's not quality, those pins are going to wear out sooner than they're supposed to, and you're going to be stuck. Just so happened I've had this ladder for about 3-4 years now. Definitely recommend that if just one pin starts to slip, if you notice just one pin starts to slip, it's time to buy a new telescoping ladder. So this is what's called the drip edge right here. And what the drip edge is for, whenever rain comes down, it goes around the drip edge, and then this little curve right here, it releases the tension, the surface tension of the water, and it keeps it from riding up and causing water damage on the fascia. This is the fascia. One of the first things you want to look at, especially at the eaves. Now, the way a typical building code works is when you're dealing with eaves and rates, usually the felt is supposed to be over the top of this drip edge. And at the rakes, at the rakes, the drip edge is over the felt. Hold on. Let me see if I'm saying that right. Y'all not about to laugh at me on this video. What is it usually? Okay, at the eaves, usually the felt is over the drip edge, and usually at the rakes, the drip edge is over the felt. Now, what I typically see, whether it's a gable roof or a rake roof, typically what I see is that the felt seems to always be under the drip edge. And why is that important to y'all? Because if the felt is under the drip edge, then that means in order to remove and replace the felt, you have to remove and replace the drip edge. And that should be a line item on your estimate. These are 3-tab shingles. Those are architectural laminate shingles. These are 3-tabs, so you see the difference. 3-tabs are usually more susceptible to wind damage. That doesn't mean that these aren't susceptible, but it's not as obvious, the damage. Oh, I actually see. So what constitutes damage? Okay. This is too blurry, but I can see a keyway missing on this roof. And once again, that's an indication of wind damage. Now, can I say definitely that wind caused that? No. Can I say definitely that wind didn't cause that? No. And that's the same response that the only response that the insurance carrier can give, unless they were out here with 24 hours, 7-day-a-week surveillance to see. And once again, when you're dealing with an open perils policy, which is what typically is a homeowner's insurance policy. Homeowners policies are usually HO3s. When you're dealing with the open perils policy, the burden of proof is on the insurance carrier to prove that it isn't explicitly excluded. Okay, so before I get on the roof, I go ahead and I check the pitch. Why is that important? Because depending on the pitch, that means that there are additional line items that need to be included due to safety. Whenever a roof is above 712, then that's when you use an additional line item in Xactimate, basically showing that. And you want to be able to document that, because one or two things are going to happen. And the reason why I'm showing y'all all this stuff in these pictures, one or two things are going to happen. Either you're going to be dealing with a carrier adjuster that really knows their stuff, and they're going to have all of these pictures, all of these documents, all of these tools documenting what the pitch is, looking under the shingles to see exactly what the felt is doing under there. You want to be able to do the same thing. You want to have your documents do the same thing. Or you're going to be dealing with an adjuster, a carrier adjuster that doesn't know what they're doing, and their file is going to have about 3 pictures. I'm exaggerating, but because their file might have maybe 20 some odd pictures, and your file is going to have at least 100 plus. If you're assisting homeowners and you're taking less than 100 pictures, you're doing something wrong. You're doing something wrong. All right, so this right here is a 6 pitch, and the reason why I like this pitch gauge is it has the bubble right here, the air bubble, and it's long, so it can go across multiple shingles. I don't have to get a flat surface. It is its own flat surface, and this goes across multiple shingles, and it has a verifiable point to show that, hey, this is level, this is to the roof, and it is a 6. Other people might have a digital gauge. That digital gauge can be susceptible and might need recalibration. You can say, hey, I got this. As you can see, that air bubble lets you know I had that gauge line parallel to the roof. Another thing you want to do and the term that one of my mentors that let me shadow them when it comes to always having pictures with these tape measure is, he says, you look high speed. And what high speed means is you just look smarter than everybody else. So you want to go ahead and document how long the shingles are. You want to document what the reveal is. You want all of your pictures showing this stuff because you look high speed. And if in the future a jury of their peers are looking at this, they'll be like, all right, this person compared to this other guy's picture obviously is the expert. All right, so check this out. See that mastic around here? You want to document that because detaching and resetting these satellites doesn't at least last time I looked, doesn't automatically include mastic. You want to document just so you're including that extra mastic in your estimate. So what I do first when I get on these roofs, before I go to doing what you're going to see me do later, I look for what I quote unquote call obvious damage. Universal damage. And when I say universal, meaning that even the carrier must admit that this is probably wind damage. So I look for creased shingles and torn shingles first. And just like at the bottom on the elevations, you want to do everything the same because you want your subconscious to be locked in a routine, and you want your subconscious to be locked in a routine, and you want your muscle memory to be locked in a routine. Okay. So let me do a quick overview. I'm looking for creased and torn shingles. Now, what I'm going to look for and what I'm going to ask the carrier adjuster when they get here is, what do they consider uplifted shingles? The courts have already determined that uplifted shingles are wind damage. Property inspectors, when people are selling homes, consider uplifted shingles to be the first stage of shingle failure. What's the first stage of cancer? It's not as serious, but it's still cancer, right? So the first stage of shingle failure is still shingle failure. Now, looking at these pipes. Now, look at these pipes. What do you notice that's unique about these pipes? They have paint on them, right? So you definitely want to document that these pipes are painted. What am I also documenting? That I also see additional signs of mastic. And once again, when you look at the details of these line items, they don't always automatically include mastic. So if mastic isn't put into the details of those lines, then mastic isn't there. You can't just assume. So you're gonna have to add more mastic. This is a rain diverter. What you saw up front earlier was a kick-out diverter. Kick-out rain diverter. This is a rain diverter. There are line items for this stuff. Whenever you see gutters, you want to go ahead and document if these gutters are nailed into the drip edge, which these are not. You also want to document to see if there's any granules in the gutters, which would be an indicator that there's large amounts of granule loss to the roof. So let's see what we're doing. All right, so check this out. Here are prior signs
of repair. Why is this important? To document prior signs of repair. Because you don't want to act like these don't exist, right? They might try to say, oh, shoot, the roof was bad anyway. You know, you got prior signs of repair. Yeah. So what I typically do is in my report, whenever I see any damage that may not be a part of the event that I'm talking about, or indicators of former damage, you want to document that in your report. You don't want to seem biased. You want to say, hey, indicators of prior damage repair. So later on, once again, everything that you're doing is assuming that you're going to get in front of a jury. It's assuming that you're going to get deposed. Some people might say interrogated, but assuming that you're going to get deposed by the carrier counsel. And when you start saying absolutes to where this was caused by this was caused by that, and you're not a causation expert, oh, they're going to eat you alive. But when you say possibly this, probably that, likely this, could be that, you're leaving it open to interpretation, and you're not putting yourself in the bind, stepping outside what your expertise is. So what I'm noticing about these prior repairs is, look at this. So you can't necessarily, you see the crease in these shingles? You're not going to necessarily be able to say any wind caused these creases, but this is an indicator that if I were to come across any more damaged shingles, that it would mean that it would crease any other shingles if another repair was attempted. So that's an indicator that this roof is not repairable, and it would fail. It would fail a brittle repair test, a brittle test. Look for some shingles that's. And the homeowner moved into this home less than a year ago. It's coming right up on a year. And whenever you have someone that's filing a home insurance claim, when they've only been there for a year or less, be certain that they're going to be asking for that home inspection report. And that home inspection report better be a friendly one to you. You better, if you're thinking about taking on a claim with somebody who hasn't been in their home for more than a year, especially, and it may be something that you do regardless of if it's a year or not, but especially if it's a year, just know that's a part of the standard operating procedures of the insurance company to ask for and receive that home inspection report. You want to go ahead and look at that report before you take the claim, just to see if the home inspector was able to observe and document any damages that an insured is trying to say happened more recently. Because a lot of my insureds seem to be honest people, but sometimes you're going to deal with people who aren't so honest. Now look at this. This is a goose neck vent. So you want to definitely go ahead and capture pictures just to show that you're looking at this stuff. This is a off-ridge vent. The reason why it's called an off-ridge vent, because this is the ridge and it's off the ridge. Documentation. It's a 6-foot off-ridge vent, and you got 3 of them. So let's talk about it, y'all. Look at this dent right here. What caused this dent? Do you know? Are you willing to bet your home and your life savings on what caused it? If We know what caused it, but you don't know, but we're asking you to say exactly what caused it, and whatever you say caused it, bet your home and life savings. If you're not willing to do that, that means that it could have been caused by anything. That means it could have possibly been caused by wind-driven missiles. Exactly. Let's see. Anytime you see any rust on these components of a roof, you want to make sure to document that, because anything that has rust has to be removed. So let's say that when I do walk around this roof, because I'm going to look in a little bit more detail, and I don't see any crease shingles that does not seem to be related to those prior repairs. And let's say the carrier adjuster claims that, even though it's not right, but they claim that uplifted shingles aren't wind damage shingles. And then I point to this. Guess what they're going to say? They're going to say, somebody could have just kicked this. And I'm going to say, could have. It also could have been caused by wind-driven missiles. And wind is a covered damage. And if those shingles from prior repair are creased, and in order to replace this vent, this off-ridge vent, this 6-foot off-ridge vent, requires you to move these shingles, and we see indicators that manipulating shingles cause crease, what's going to happen here? And if shingles are creased as a result of a repair that's related to a covered claim, then those shingles need to be replaced. And then it causes a cascading effect, because in order to replace one set of shingles, at least 14 shingles need to be manipulated around it in order to do it correctly. Don't ask me, ask the people who specialize in this stuff. That's what they say. There's third-party verifiable documentation that says in order to repair one shingle, you have to do it correctly, you have to manipulate at least 14 shingles. It's not me saying it. It's that third-party verifiable documentation, baby. Okay. So this is my initial overview. Now, I'm not seeing any torn shingles. I'm about to take these shades off and do another quick look to see if I see any more crease shingles that aren't apparently caused by the prior repairs, and then we're gonna go from there. And then I'm gonna review again the home inspection report just to see what may have been here prior to the covered weather event and was obviously not here prior to the covered weather event. Talk to y'all soon. Okay, another thing I want to show you is this right here. It's a cosmetic part of this roof, and it's basically seeming as if the gable is protruding out of the side elevation, which is that's what it's doing, but it gives this effect. Now, let me ask you, are the roofers going to be able to just safely get right here in order to replace the shingles right here? No, they're going to have to do this from the ground and go over. And in order to do that, they're going to need either some jacks and ladders, or they're going to need, what's the word? Man, y'all know what I'm saying. Put it in the comments. I can't think of it right now, but basically something that you build up. Lord help me. Anyway, they're going to need something that allows them to work from the side of the home, the side elevation, to where they're leaning over and from the side and doing this repair right here. It won't be safe at all for them to try to do this repair from right here, like on the roof. They're going to have safety measures. So that means that needs to be an extra part of your estimate, a part of your general conditions.
Huh?
Are you against me reporting your inspection?
You can record all you want.
Okay, cool. How you been, man?
Good. All I'm doing is taking pictures, brother.
I
Do they have any interior damage?
Nah.
Y'all want to? Y'all can go ahead and have her fill that out. That way we don't have to go inside.
Okay,
We
cool. Already sent the home inspection, and this is to show that she got repaired what the home inspector pointed out on the roof when she first bought the house.
Oh, okay.
Okay, yeah. Let me so go ahead and get her to fill this out.
How long ago was this?
Right when the home inspector came and pointed out that it was missing shingles, then that's when the original homeowner got those shingles repaired. So you in the file, it should be a picture. It should be a file of the original home inspection. Did you get that, or?
Oh, so this was the prior owner?
Yeah. So all right. So So what happened was,
Purchased property back in April last year.
okay.
And so in order for them to sell a house and to get the contract, the mortgage company said this needs to be repaired before we'll sign it. So they had to have the prior homeowner had to have everything done before you bought the property. So this is what this is for.
Yeah, because when she filed the claim, the person who took the first notice of loss, they asked her to send the home inspection report. So that's why I'm just giving you this, because they didn't ask for any
repair stuff or anything. Okay.
All right. Well, let me give this to her.
It's just a copy, right?
Yeah, it's yours.
Oh, okay.
It's yours. Hey Rob, I just want to before you leave the backyard, I just want to show you something. So in that same home report, it shows where there was damage here initially. However, this is new right here. The damage to the screen.
You said they sent the report to bankers?
The desk adjuster, whoever the desk adjuster is. Did you want a copy? Did you want a copy? Okay.
All I'm doing is replying to him with,
I get it right.
I'm just documenting.
I'm just here. I'm only authorized to apologize.
What they're looking at so they can make a decision on coverage and all that.
Yeah, I get the same thing they told you, huh?
Huh? I mean, that's what they tell everybody. I mean, that's what we tell everybody. So are you
And
representing-
right here. And also, the garage door panels right here and right here. What do you think caused that?
I'm sorry, where?
Right here. So right there at that lower.
Right here?
Yeah, huh?
This whole thing?
Well, right here. What do you think could have caused it? Anything?
Somebody bumping into it.
Or?
Somebody bumping into it.
Oh, that's the only possible thing? in the mailbox? What do you think could cause that?
Are we looking for hail?
Nah, wind-driven missile, I think possibly could have caused it. What do you think?
Rock thrown by a lawnmower?
So it could have been anything, right?
It could have been there prior to the loss too.
Yeah, and it would be in the inspection report.
Not necessarily.
Yeah,
Inspectors don't look at mailboxes.
Maybe not.
They don't look at mailboxes. I can guarantee you that.
So it sounds like you're saying every time they don't look at the mailbox.
Huh?
It sounds like you're saying every time they don't look at the mailbox.
Do you inspect homes?
Are
you a home inspector?
I've taken the course.
Are you a home inspector?
I've taken the course.
Huh?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
No, but it sounds like you're saying every home inspector that you know of never looks at the mailbox.
Have you ever seen a picture of a mailbox on a home inspection?
Yes. You never have?
Never.
Oh, so it sounds like you you don't really look at that many home inspection reports.
I'll look at them only when they're when the loss is within about a year is when it's requested.
Mm-hmm. And that was already there when she moved in. That damage.
The damage
to the sconce. That was already there.
Oh, it's just a missing little thing on the bottom there.
No, I'm sorry.
That's all right. The only time I ever see it normally is verification of the address, but a lot of times what I see on the inspection report verification of the address is the letters on the numbers on the wall.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So if there's numbers on the wall, a lot of times they won't even take a picture of the mailbox. It's like in our neighborhood, mailboxes aren't even our property.
Really?
Nope.
Wow.
We don't own them. Neighborhood does.
So if somebody runs into the mailbox, I guess you would put in a request and they would
Call the neighborhood and the neighborhood does it.
That's beautiful. But I'm imagining your homeowners association might be what, at least $800 a year?
Huh?
Your homeowners association probably $800 a year.
$100 a year.
Oh yeah, see, I would own my mailbox for that much. I would own my mailbox for that much.
Yeah, but I mean
But they do a lot, I guess.
I mean, we have a community pool, everything else. So.
Mm-hmm. Do y'all not count uplifted shingles as damage?
Nope. Crease. Missing.
What do you think is the reason why they don't count uplifted?
Because you can tack it back down.
Like with a nail?
No.
What you mean? Even if there's debris under there?
Yeah.
Okay.
They glue it all together.
I guess to put the glue over the debris.
Huh? What do you mean put it over the debris?
Because I you said you can tack it back down, and then I said with the nail, and you said no with adhesive.
Lift it
and
up, wipe it, put the glue down. Back
got
down.
it. So as long as the debris can get up out of there.
Or you can seal it down with the debris under there.
Hmm.
It's not going to affect the way the shingle operates.
So y'all don't typically check for uplifted.
Like this right here.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, oh, you got it tacked down. So I guess that was caused when they replaced it.
Yes, sir. Whenever you take a look at that report, you'll see that these were where the missing shingles were.
Right.
It looks like.
So in other words, that the inspection should have said that the roof should have been replaced, not repaired.
It's possible, but you know how insurance companies are.
That's not an insurance company.
No, I'm
The
saying.
inspector.
What do you mean?
Well, the inspector is the one that inspected the roof and said this needs to be repaired.
Yeah,
But it has to be replaced, not repaired.
it's
It wasn't
possible.
repairable.
But that's why when the insurance company comes out and do their report, when they come out,
Right.
they're supposed to decide whether or not it's a risk that they're willing to take. And if they decide that the risk is okay.
They can always subrogate against the contractor, or against his insurance.
Okay, cool.
I mean,
Hey, I'm not against subrogation.
I'm just,
I'm not against subrogation.
I'm just here to mark the damages.
Man, I get it, Rob. And it's all.
Like anything I say on this roof or anything I say during an inspection, I mean, isn't liable in court because I'm not providing a professional opinion.
Well, I mean, if you want to, because it seems like, do you want me to respond to that?
You can.
Well, I think as the field adjuster, you're an agent of the insurance carrier.
I'm not.
Oh, okay.
I'm contracted to go document damages only.
Okay, so you're not an agent of the carrier.
No.
Okay, understood.
No, I don't work for them. I'm a contractor that comes out and provides photographs and measurements of facilities and buildings so the carrier can use their inside adjuster to make any kind of coverage calls or coverage determinations.
Okay, so it sounds like you're saying as the field adjuster contracted by the carrier, you're not an agent of the insurance company.
I am not.
Okay, understood.
I am merely a witness to the law.
I understand. I hear what you're saying.
Like, because of depositions and stuff, when I get deposed, I get that question asked all the time.
Are you an agent of the carrier?
Or am I an agent of the carrier? Do I work for the carrier? No, I do not. I'm hired by another company to come provide a damage estimate.
Understood.
So when they depose, like when I get deposed, it's like I'm just a witness of like what I saw while I was on the roof.
Okay. Well, just to make sure you see this too. Just to make sure you see this.
Hang on.
Oh no, okay, I'm not gonna take you at your move.
Let me look for more damage.
Oh, take your time, Rob. You the man. Yeah, I believe those shingles are around the prior repair. The crease was caused, possibly, more than likely caused by that repair attempt. But as far as the crease shingles that's not around it, like that one, and those uplifted, it wasn't.
Were the pictures of the home inspection, was that done prior to the repair done?
Yeah, it was done prior to the repair, and then once the repair was made, that's, huh?
You came back out again?
As far as the show that it was replaced, well, the realtor sent pictures to show that it was replaced.
Gotcha.
And then, of course, the person, if you need to, there's also a receipt that comes along with that report.
See, these are underneath the repairs, so that's got really nothing to do with it.
Oh, that's.
And they're right here.
Yeah, I noticed that. But like I said, I couldn't tell for sure. But I wanted to be, completely transparent. You're actually one of the better field adjusters I've encountered, Rob.
Wow.
Because you it seems like you take your time and you pay attention and you don't just rush through your inspections.
Well, a lot of guys will come out here, they'll look at the repairs, they'll look at the damage above the repair, and they won't even mark anything down, they'll just take pictures and leave.
That's not what, and you understand that's not what y'all actually are supposed to look. I appreciate that.
Now when it comes to like, verifying, like right here, look, you got it right here, see, it's loose, it's not creased, but you also have lifting right here.
Mhm.
So that's why.
Yeah, it's
you know,
it's a little more
pulled-
extensive than the average.
It's pulled through the fastener under there.
Mm-hmm.
So
Absolutely. Do they not allow y'all to do brittle tests? Okay.
if they question, like they look at the damages and say, you know, it was repaired a year ago,
Mm-hmm.
and we think it should be repaired again,
Mm-hmm.
then, you know, at that point, you know, a lot of times what they'll do is I don't know, they'll send out,
Engineer maybe.
I don't know who they send out. Actually, I don't know who they send out.
Mhm.
Bankers, I don't get into all that.
Bankers might not be thinkers, but
I never, they're actually really good.
oh yeah, and that's the thing.
Bankers are probably they're probably one of the easiest carriers I've ever worked with.
But that's how I got my chops as an independent
That's
adjuster.
how
Yeah, I was doing managed MCM, managed claim repair.
Yeah.
So everything after first notice of loss to negotiating with the remediation companies and mitigation companies to doing the settlements. Every claim had 9 out of 10 claims had a PAR and attorney on it. I had to do recorded statements on 100% of my claims. 9 out of 10 of the policyholders were Spanish speakers. Could not speak a lick of English. At least that's all right. So they couldn't speak, but this is what would happen, right? So my recorded statements that, you know, typically would take 10 minutes if we spoke the same language would take about 30 to 40 minutes. And if the interpreter said something wrong, guess what? They went from not speaking English at all to, oh no, I said, I said, okay.
Okay, it seemed like the field adjustment went well. It was hotter than fish grease out there. So hot my phone overheated in the middle of the inspection. So I guess the moral of that story is always bring a backup camera. The field adjuster had no issue with me recording him. He seemed like a very knowledgeable and experienced field adjuster. Now here's the thing. A lot of times it's going to seem like it's going right, and one of the main things that a field adjuster would tell you is, hey man, I really don't got no authority. All I'm doing is taking the pictures, and sometimes that might be true. Maybe even a majority of times that might be true. But even if a field adjuster isn't technically making the final decision, they can set the tone. They can definitely set the tone. They can you have a field adjuster that might come out there and take 20 pictures, and you have a field adjuster that might come out there and take 150 to 200 pictures of the right pictures. I actually, and like I said, even though based off what I said earlier, there's no presumption of privacy, I got his permission to go ahead and record him for what I did record. Just ask some curious questions. For example, when you see the injury to the overhead door panels, aka the garage door panels, when you see the injuries to the mailbox, when you see the injuries to the screen, one of my curious questions is, what do you think caused that? And of course he's gonna say, maybe, somebody bumped into it. And he was talking about the overhead door panel. And I said, well, the injury to the mailbox, so what do you think caused that? He said, maybe a rock jumped up from a lawnmower. And I said, maybe? He's like, yeah. I say, so it's possible. Yeah, so it possibly could have been something else. Possibly could have been a wind-driven missile. And things of that nature, of asking them, well, how do you view uplifted shingles? Now, we already understand that for the most part, a lot of insurance carrier guidelines are that uplifted shingles are not considered damage. However, like I said before, the courts have already decided on that. The manufacturer has already decided on that. The home inspectors have already decided on that. Uplifted shingles are damaged. Now, some people will then say, well, depending on the season, the temperature, those shingles may seal back, and that very well is possible. However, when there is debris under those uplifted shingles, or when you see where the shingles were uplifted to the point to where the shingles were pulled through the fasteners, aka the nails, what's gonna happen now? So I said all that to say this. He seems like a very knowledgeable and experienced field adjuster. However, he may or may not have any authority, but he can definitely set the tone as far as if he doesn't have authority, what the desk adjuster does. If the desk adjuster has all of the right pictures, has a good estimate, then more than likely that's what they're gonna go with it. But don't assume just because you had a great conversation, just because they seem knowledgeable, unbiased, or experienced, that everything gonna go your way. You still act accordingly. You still confirm what they see, what you saw and what they see as damage. You still have a conversation in front of the homeowner and the building owner with that adjuster, what they saw and what they see as damage. You then follow up with an email memorializing what y'all agreed to that you saw, and you in that same email you give them the opportunity to let you know if they disagree with any of your recollection, because they might disagree with your recollection. So make sure you put that in there. That way, if they respond, then they may respond back and correct you. You may have made a mistake in what you recalled and what they said, or they might ignore you. But even if they ignore you, you did what you're supposed to do, and you gave them an opportunity to correct you. And if you give someone the opportunity to correct you in your recollection, verifiable account of your recollection, and they don't, that's tantamount of them agreeing to what you said. So that was how I would prep for doing inspections and the questions I would ask. You missed some of the other questions, but once again, all I would do is point out things, and I would ask him, how does he think it happened? And a good public adjuster, well, not a good public adjuster, an insurance adjuster may or may not proceed different ways. Some of them might just ignore you, and some of them might say definitely what they think happened, or what quote unquote know happened, as if they're causation experts. And some of them will respond tentatively, as they should, basically saying it could have possibly been this and possibly been that. But the good thing about them responding tentatively, you can then follow up, possibly? Yeah, it could have possibly been. So it also could have possibly been what I think it could have possibly been, which is wind-driven missiles. And these uplifted shingles could have been caused by what I think it possibly could have been, which is high force winds. And the shingles, they're going to seal back. It sounds like you're saying they're definitely going to seal back. It seems like you know for certain that these shingles are going to
sealed back. But they probably are. Probably. So that means it's a chance that they possibly won't. That's what it sounds like you're saying. You know, stuff like that. And once again, you don't have to be argumentative with them. Just get those questions out there. Just so you will be honest when you do your memorialization of the conversation of what happened. So I'll be in touch. Appreciate you for watching. If you have any questions, concerns, do you disagree with how I handled this? Do you agree with how I handled this inspection? I don't know. Let me know. Did I do wrong? Something wrong? Did I miss something? Am I making presumptions, or do I have any preconceived notions that you disagree with? Let me know. I'm Randolph Love III.